It's alcoholic, Janjo.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, vodka is, you know,
So
it's a
what part
neutral.
of this?
It's a neutral spirit, right? So yeah.
Exactly. And it extracts the active ingredient, right? So one part of this in 99 parts of vodka, and then you have to pound it 100 times, like really hard, like this.
Holy shit! Okay.
100 times. And then from the
you literally count to 100.
Yes.
Because you're getting a dose of that.
It's
100
scientific.
times. So, let's start. So this is what? Episode number 12. This is episode number 12. I don't know if you were able to watch the one of Roman a little bit. Denise, did you get
at
to
least
see?
30 minutes of it.
Oh yeah, it's fun, right? So now you have an idea what it's like, right? This thing's like. Yeah, and then we're gonna come up with a best of. So it's like clips of every episode. We're gonna post that, so you don't have to see every single one. But yeah, we're talking about all kinds of topics. So here we are, episode number 12, Crow Talk. We have with us our guest, Denise Celdran. Of course, Denise.
Hello, everyone.
John Joe there. John Joe, this is Denise. So, you know, we're going to talk a lot about, I mean, you know, the health thing. You know, Denise, you're always synonymous with the whole health thing, right? I mean, long ago, I was still working in Makati. I'll never forget. I tried to be a vegetarian for a while, and I was ordering your food. You know what I mean? You know, I'm trying to be healthy. I said, I don't know. I think it was something I watched, and I remember. I remember because I was watching this show that totally struck me, and I think after the end of that show, I said, "That's it. I'm not eating an animal again." But that was short-lived.
And how long did that last?
Not long, pa, until I saw my
then you
next.
tried it again.
I tried it again because there was more shows coming. I don't know if John Joe, you've seen these shows coming out on Netflix.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I think,
the sugar ones, and then the
sugar, the meat. Yeah. You know what I mean? You end up, you know, totally getting so obsessed, and you're like, oh my God, I can't eat meat again, right? So everybody starts getting to that direction, and then they start, you know, playing around with. Before you know it, they have a Big Mac in their mouth again, right? But anyway, enough of that. Denise, let's talk about alternative healing, alternative medicine, right? I mean, we want to start with something that is there it is. Let's see. Okay. Homeopathy.
Wow.
Right?
Scary.
Okay. So, I mean, this is such a broad topic, right? But I don't know if you can try to break it down into its ABCs, because a lot of people don't seem to get what this really is. And so if you were to explain to someone who's never heard about this, how would you describe what this is all about? What is this? What is homeopathy? Am I even pronouncing it right?
You're pronouncing it right. Wow, what is homeopathy in a nutshell?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, basically it's vibrational medicine. So they've managed to extract the vibration or the quantum wave.
Feel the vibration.
Yes. Vibration. No, it goes through a process where they're able to extract the quantum vibration of tinctures, you know, herbal tinctures, of metals, of plant and animal extracts.
When you say vibrations, are you talking about its energy? Everything has energy.
We're all energy beings. So 230 years ago, Samuel Hahnemann, the founder of homeopathy, did a lot of research into Paracelsus. Paracelsus he's like an alchemist. So they were trying to turn lead into gold. So he researched on Paracelsus and Hippocrates, and he discovered that with all of these herbal tinctures, if you give it, you can still poison people. So he said, maybe if you dilute it and dilute it and dilute it into its tiniest dose, then you won't be able to poison people, because they were using mercury, they were using phosphorus, arsenic. That was the medicine of the past. So what he did is he dilutes it. For example, let's take, well, I have an example here is tagine mix.
Okay.
If I was gonna cure, and bell pepper is a medicine, right?
Okay.
But if I was gonna give and cure somebody of a high fever with pepper, which is one of the herbs they use for high fever, the person would get poisoning, like bell pepper or chili pepper poisoning after a while, because it's too much. So
Right.
I will get 1 part of this bell pepper, chili pepper mix, put it in 99 parts of vodka. Homeopathic remedies are made with vodka.
See, it's alcoholic, Janjo.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
But yeah, vodka is, you know,
So
it's a
what part of
neutral,
this
it's a neutral spirit, right? So yeah.
Exactly. And it extracts the active ingredient, right? So 1 part of this in 99 parts of vodka, and then you have to pound it 100 times, like really hard, like this.
Holy shit. Okay.
100 times. And then
you literally count to 100.
Yes.
Because you're getting a dose of that.
It's
100
scientific.
times.
You have to count up to 100.
Okay.
100 pounds. And they even measured the arm length before. So, and then from that, that's called 1CH, meaning diluted once, C is centesimal, pounded 100 times. So there's kinetic energy put into the tincture or the vodka and pepper tincture.
Okay.
Then you dilute it further, because that you could still taste the chili pepper, right?
Right.
So then you get from the 1C, you get 1 part of that, another 99 parts of vodka, and then pound it another 100 times.
Holy
So
shit.
on until you reach 30C, pounded, diluted 30 times, and pounded 3,000 times.
Wow.
So that's
okay.
kinetic
So what's the
energy
point? What's the point of pounding? You're just trying to get the energy. You're trying to dilute the element or whatever that chili. Okay. And you're just trying to get what of it?
Okay, so when we went to school, we knew proton, neutron, and electron, right? That's all.
Right.
But now they're particles. So if you've heard of CERN and the Higgs boson particle, they built that whole thing in Switzerland just to break down a hydrogen atom to figure out how the world began, what the Big Bang theory was.
Right.
So when you're pounding it, energy is neither created nor destroyed. It goes into the electron bond of the belt of the chili pepper, and it breaks it down into a particle, the vibration or the wave of a chili pepper. So that imprint
is now in the vodka. It's in that solution.
Vodka is a neutral crystal. So you can hold a vibration in water, sugar, a clear spirit, because it's a crystal structure that can carry a vibration.
I have a question though. When you bring in that vibration of that chili to that neutral alcohol, that now has the vibration. Does it expire? I mean, for how long can you have the vibration in that vial?
Forever. Because energy is neither created nor destroyed. So if it's in vodka and you just keep it in there, it's like how long does Scotch whiskey last, right?
Yeah, it doesn't expire. It just evaporates. It evaporates.
For as long as you never open the bottle and you leave it in there, the vibration is in there. It gets corrupted once you open it, and then it gets mixed with essential oils, or the sun hits it and the bottle is open, so it gets heated and it changes its form, right? But if you don't touch it, it lasts as long as alcohol.
Which brings me to the next question. What can remedies do to promote healing? So you basically gave us an example of how to dilute the element that you want to get, right? Now, there are different, am I calling it element or whatever, the vibration of certain things. Now, how now, okay, let's give an example. Like, for example, that arsenic, which is a
Yes.
poison, right? We know layman's terms that it's poison, right? But
Mhm.
for homeopathy, it's a remedy. Now, how can a poison become a remedy and promote healing? That's the thing I just don't get.
That's the magic question. Okay. Well, okay. So if you died of arsenic poisoning, what would your symptoms be? So before you died of arsenic poison, you would first get cold sweats, you would get the runs, you would exhibit all of these symptoms of arsenic poisoning. You would be
Right.
chilly, over time, because when people used to put arsenic in old days, when they used to poison people, they would just put a little bit of arsenic every day. So they would start to get thin, emaciated. All those are the symptoms of arsenic poisoning. So in homeopathy, it's like cures like. So in other words, a person exhibiting these symptoms, what do you think his vibration would look like? If you could see the vibration of that sick person dying of arsenic poison, let's say it would be this certain pattern. And
Right.
then if you could see the vibration of an arsenic, like you were able to measure and see the pattern of the arsenic, it would also be the same pattern, right?
So is it similar to a vaccine? Because right, like I mean, when you get bitten by a snake, the poison of the snake, you go for a vaccine, and a vaccine, how to make it is you need the poison of the snake. So is that follow? Am I following you that way? Is that what homeopathy is about?
Yes, yes, because what happens is we use the law of electromagnetism, right? So electromagnetism, there's a polar, there's south pole and there's north pole, right? If you
Right.
put north and north, it repels. If you put north and south, then it cancels out each other, right?
Right.
It merges. So with a homeopathic remedy, if I'm sick and I'm exhibiting the chills, I've got diarrhea, I've got the runs, arsenic will cure me because arsenic poisoning exhibits the same kind of vibrational pattern. If you were poisoned with arsenic, you would be chilly, you would have the runs, you would be pale and thin. So if you could see the vibration, they are polar opposites. And when you take the remedy, it cancels out each other. So it's
and
quantum
and
physics.
so you're going to the smallest level of cure, of remedy.
Yes,
And
exactly. Quantum physics. It's down to the vibration. So in a vaccine, so what it does is it most likely stimulates our immune system in such a way that when it introduces the picture of arsenic poisoning that we are exhibiting also, because I ate bad food and I have the chills and the runs, then what
right.
happens is our immune system picks up that vibration and gives out just the right fighter T cells and soldier cells, and I don't know what they're called, to
Yeah.
match it. So
So
that's
okay,
why
so it's your immune system that does the curing in the case of a vaccine. But in the case
in
of
the case of the
homeopathy,
vaccine, yes.
yes. But homeopathy, it's different. It's like cures like, and it repels it.
In vaccines, it's also like cures like, but what makes vaccines not good, in my opinion, is
Yeah.
that they put too much junk in it. The principle
Okay.
is the same. And homeopathy was discovered 5 years before the vaccine.
Oh, I didn't
So
know that.
vaccine is influenced by homeopathy. This is in the late 1700s. So without all that junk, the concept of vaccines is correct. It's a really tiny substance, but what they do is they mess it up with all of these embryos and mercury and all these heavy metals that they put in it to preserve it, right?
Okay. So
But
that's where it starts
in
going
homeopathy,
off.
it's the same principle. Yes, exactly. But it's the same principle. It's like cures like. Vaccine is you treat measles, they get a dead measles or a live measles virus, and then they put it with all of this junk and inject it into your body. So your body recognizes the vibration of the measles, gives out the exact soldiers it needs to fight it, But then there's a side effect of the mercury poisoning and all of the
So there's a long-term
other
side
stuff.
effect, yeah, that you get. Now, here's the thing with the remedies in homeopathy, there's no such thing as side effects. There's no such thing as overdose.
Well, there is in a way, it's called approving, but it's not harmful. Unlike vaccines, because it's live substances in a chemical form, it has to pass through our liver, it has to pass through our kidney. You know, our body needs to be able to eliminate it, and we don't know how a lot of times because it's heavy metals. Whereas in homeopathy, you will start to prove it, because how Hahnemann discovered it was the whole concept of like cures like is an old concept from Hippocrates. So he got China, which in the 1700s was a cure for malaria. So he got China, he was well, and he took China, and after 3 days, he developed all the symptoms of malaria, even if he didn't have malaria. So the China remedy, cinchona, which is a Peruvian tree called China, gave
Wait
him
a minute, cinchona bark, John Joe. Where the hell
What?
is cinchona in? Sorry for digressing. Come on, John
No.
Joe. Tonic
Yeah.
water.
Okay. I was thinking that, but I didn't know where it was. But yeah, I was
tonic
thinking
water.
tonic.
Quinine.
Yeah, exactly, quinine. Yeah. So there you go. And so that was the remedy for malaria, right?
Yes, quinine is the remedy for malaria. And now for COVID, right? That they're debunking.
Exactly. Yes,
So-
yes.
Like he poisoned himself with quinine. He didn't need it, but he took it. So he exhibited, like if you drank too much tonic water, your poisoning symptom would be malaria symptoms. So that's how he figured like cures like.
Interesting. John Joe, are you following?
Yeah.
But I don't
That
know, man.
smile is like-
I'm learning, dude. Okay, here's a slide that's really interesting, guys. Sources of homeopathic remedies are all over the place. I thought they were only plants,
Yeah.
but apparently they're everywhere, huh? There's animals, there's minerals, there's even the freaking moon's rays. Man, dude, this is John Joe, this is down your dad's path, man.
Exactly. I'm very familiar with everything that's being said.
This
Very
is
familiar.
down. Your dad was way ahead of his time, pal. Look at this.
Yeah.
I mean, come
Oh,
on, man.
totally.
That's why when you talk about the harmonics, basically, that's literally what he thought. It's toning. So it's the wavelengths, it's the tone. It's whether it's plants, whether it's the moon, or that's why I'm very familiar.
Wow.
Exactly. It's pyramid,
now
right?
this-
It's pyramid.
So back then, your dad was a homeopath, John
Yes,
Joe.
he was very, yes. In fact, everything that's been mentioned so far is something I've heard in the past, which is giving flashbacks. A lot of flashbacks. I grew up in a homeopathy home. In fact, I've never been to the hospital or seen a doctor, really.
Wow.
Exactly, because
that is
water-
fucking
water-
unbelievable. Okay, wait. This is really,
Water gets-
you know what I mean, eye-opening stuff right here, because I remember that. I mean, we all remember your dad, right? Doing the sessions with the pyramid and the moon and all that.
Yeah,
So he was
water.
getting, he was
Totally.
putting vibration into water. He was
Yep.
putting vibration into water and basically curing with that.
In a way,
Was it-
yes, but that included also like the product line. It wasn't
Yeah.
just centralized on water. It was different. Like for example, growing up with him in that household, we would have to take maybe 6 or 7 different types of vitamins, even like fish liver oil, brewer's yeast tablets. We'd even have a spoonful.
fuck.
We couldn't
Dude.
eat,
Dude,
or we
growing
couldn't
up,
leave
I
the
don't know.
table without a spoonful of molasses. It's like
Dude,
pure.
my growing up, it was cod
Molasses
liver
is so
oil,
healthy.
milk of magnesia. Fuck, that tasted like shit, man. And I had to take that because I was so thin, or I don't know what the hell my mom thought I had to take. But Yeah, that was one of it.
Well,
But
you had a lot of it. That's a homeopathic.
no,
Nice
but
one.
this is amazing because anything in nature. Okay, this is where I have to ask you. How do you find out
Hmm.
what is for what? So like, yeah, there must be a Bible of homeopathic meds or remedies, as you call it, right? So,
All the materia
no-
medica. Here, let me
yeah.
show you. Let me show you.
So, okay, there is a whole, dude, that's
It's a freaking
intense.
Bible.
Okay, so, okay, in order for anything, Denise, to go in there, it must have gone through like what doctors go through when they come up with
A
a
double-blind
vaccine.
study. Yeah.
Okay, and so of course, medical science kind of like they don't. I mean, there are doctors who believe in homeopathy, but there are who are hardcore. No, that's not gone through clinical trials, but their clinic is the medical science clinic, right? And then there are people, obviously.
I'd have
So,
to.
go. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I said I have to. I beg to differ because they keep saying it's not proven. But to create this materia medica, it's more than a double-blind study because in double-blind studies by pharmaceutical companies, it's very biased. They test a medicine and they only list down the good effects. All the poisoning effects of ruining your liver or giving you a migraine, all of that become side effects. In homeopathy, the good, the bad, and the ugly is all included in the symptoms. So
Wow.
to, to be able to put a remedy in here, Hahnemann and also now all the modern homeopaths, they put, let's say, 20 people in a house, they give them a secret remedy, and they take it, and then they have to prove it. They all have to be well, all no symptoms, and then they slowly poison themselves with a homeopathic remedy, and then they write in a notebook all the symptoms that they feel, and then it's classified by
Wow.
keynote means everyone felt it. 90% of the people felt this symptom. Like with arsenic, it would be feeling chilly. 99% of the people proving arsenic were chilly. So that's a keynote, a very strong
So
indication.
which leads me to this question about placebic effect. So during these trials, there is placebo. They follow the same structure of testing that they would if they were to do a vaccine. But then,
But
like
they're
you
doing it
said,
alone.
yeah.
So I don't know if there would be placebo because it's alone.
I think everything has a placebo effect. Anyway, if you choose, if you're the type that says, okay, I really want to get well, then and placebo is not a bad thing. But
It's not.
homeopathy is not a placebo because we use it for dogs, we use it for plants, and they have no idea about placebo, right? They have no concept of I'm gonna take this because I want to feel better,
Right.
right? It works on dogs, horses. So, but placebo is not a bad thing. If you
Yeah.
can believe you're gonna get well, why not?
No, I've seen, my sister, Monse, and everyone in the family is very pro homeopathy. It's just that sometimes there's certain things that you like panic, right? If you don't get your meds. Right? So like anxiety, panic attacks and stuff like that, right? Right now in this day and age where everyone's stuck at home and they feel like the walls are just closing in. So can homeopathy help?
For panic attacks?
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Actually, for panic attacks, it would be poisons that would give you anxiety. Like if you took it and you got palpitation. So that would be aconite, that can be snake venom. These are the panic attack. Arsenic is one of the remedies I'm using for COVID type panic attacks because a very strong keynote, meaning when Hahnemann was proving it, everyone across the board became a hypochondriac. So
Right.
now everyone is afraid of getting infected. Everyone's afraid of catching this. The slightest cold is already COVID. All strong keynotes of Ars Alb. So I use that a lot for COVID type neurosis.
Is there a remedy like, okay, there's cause and effect, right? So you don't want to get sick and then having to deal with the sickness. So I like the whole idea where your own immune system cures yourself. I mean, we were built
Yeah.
this way. So here's my question, right? Is there a homeopathic remedy or something that you take that can strengthen your own immune system so that it can, go to battle and really do what it's supposed to do?
Okay, that's an interesting question because number one, homeopathic remedies are only supposed to be taken when you're sick.
So there's no preventive
Because there
homeopath.
is
Okay.
it's like yours like. So you have to have symptoms. Although you can use it prophylactically, but not for a long time. So right
Okay.
now I use like for people that are exposed to to this COVID thing happening or measles or some kind of a virus going around, I normally use Ars Alb, Gelsemium, Belladonna, but they can only take it for a limited period of time. Then they have to change a remedy because if they take one dose a day, their immune system is being stimulated. But if they take it too long, they will prove the remedy, meaning they
Yeah.
don't need it. Then they'll start to exhibit symptoms of Gelsemium poisoning. So now for COVID, we use Ars Alb once a day for 7 days, and then once a week for 2 months, and then we change it to Thuja, which is like an evergreen, once a day for 7 days, and then once a week for 2 months. So we always alternate it so they don't prove, but just enough, a tiny dose. And this is called prophylaxis homeopathy, which was popularized by Iziaga, an Argentinian homeopath in the 60s, and they would inoculate or give prophylaxis to 60,000 children in Argentina, 50,000 children in Brazil. That's how they used to do it before when there was an epidemic. So
Well,
homeopathy has really had um, great success with all epidemics from time
so
immemorial.
okay, so I want to hear. I mean, it's funny because we always, the unwritten rule of this Crow's Talk is we don't like talking about COVID, but of course now we're talking about remedies and health, so I can't help but talk about it.
Yeah,
So anyway, I'd like to
yeah.
know, Denise, did you have an active case of COVID that you dealt with using homeopathy?
More than 30.
Holy
Going
shit!
on 40.
Really?
That's
Really?
why I
So,
keep talking about because that's like the bulk of my cases now. Yeah.
so you know, so you mean these guys? They said, "Fuck it, we're not going to the hospital." First of all, that's a no-fly zone. You don't want to go to a hospital. You feel like
Yes,
you're not gonna go
exactly.
out, right?
And they don't
So,
want to report.
and they don't want to report. So they're like, "I'm staying home. I'll stay isolated." Denise, help me out here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh
you
yeah,
said
I'm
you
shipping
had
every
30.
day.
You had 30, and are they still currently active COVID patients?
Resolved. Dude, with homeopathy, resolved in 3 days, 4 days, even
Wow, man!
so fast. So
Wait,
fast.
Denise. I can't. You know what I mean? This is cool. This is really cool. So these guys tested positive. They knew they had the virus, and they said, okay. Some are what symptomatic, and some symptomatic, or
Both, but more symptomatic. More
okay,
symptomatic.
that's
I mean,
even
look,
worse. That's even worse.
by the
So
time they
okay,
come to me, definitely symptomatic.
so okay, and what was your remedy? What did you tell them to do?
Well, I've been playing around with 8 remedies depending because all the symptoms are either fever, cough, difficulty breathing, diarrhea. 4 major symptoms.
Symptoms.
Fever being
Okay.
the top. Belladonna, resolved in 1 night, 2 nights. And then the
Wow.
cough, phosphorus. Difficulty breathing, carbo veg and camphora. And then the diarrhea is homeopathic quinine, China, cinchona bark,
Wow,
and
man.
Fuja.
John Joe, how cool is that, right? And you don't hear much of this. It's like this is homeopathy is like under the radar, right? Under
So
the
under the radar.
radar. It's so under the radar, and it's like I don't know, right? FDA. you know how they want to get into any, and you know, big pharma, you know, that's a whole new thing, right?
I stay
they
under the radar because of big pharma.
yeah.
I get bashed by people just even offering, you know, in a forum like, okay, I can give homeopathic remedies for free, and people will bash me in the forum. So I'm just, only if you come to me, I'm not gonna, you know, I'm just gonna post on my page, but I'm never gonna offer anymore, right? Because
Okay.
it
Yeah.
feels
Well,
so
but you know
threatened.
what? We're still gonna give your contact details. So you, so when people need help, right? Okay.
Of course, of
let's
course.
kick it up a notch. Let's kick this up a notch, Denise. Let's go to
Okay.
cannabis.
Okay.
Okay, let's kick this up
Okay.
a notch, right? Okay, this thing, you know, before our podcast, I was researching, right? I was trying to read
Yeah.
why this. There's a lot of talk about how this became illegal, but the one I read had to do with Mexican immigrants that were taking cannabis because they've been taking this for a long time. We're talking 1700s here, right?
Well,
So
even in the Chinese medicine, cannabis is part of the Chinese
see, I
pharmacopoeia.
didn't know that. I didn't know that. But what I read had to do with the Mexicans, and so when they crossed the border at that time, and they, you know, there was, you know, they kept using this drug as the excuse to get them out. So this, and you know, they passed on these laws all the way, and now things are changing in the U.S., right? So now they're leading the whole world into lifting this crazy ban on cannabis, right? So
Yeah.
what is it about weed, or you know, that is so helpful to as a health alternative or remedy?
Well, for one thing is we naturally have an endocannabinoid system, and we produce our own endocannabinoids.
Okay, well, can you
Anandamide
explain
and the other.
explain, sorry, rewind, explain what that means exactly?
Oh,
What's an endocannabinoid? It's like, yeah.
okay. So we have receptors in our body that can recognize cannabis
Okay.
because we produce our own cannabis in the body, or similar chemical structure very similar to cannabis. It's called anandamide, the main thing. And when you take this, it gives you feelings of bliss, you know, just like, you know, when you're stoned, you're
Yeah.
happy, you have
Yeah.
good appetite, you're blissful, you're at peace, you're chilled. But then now, because of stress, we also don't produce enough of our own anandamide. That's why we look to external cannabinoids. So let's just classify it as cannabinoids, and
Okay.
what endogenous that we produce ourselves, and exogenous what comes from a cannabis plant, right? So when we, our homeostasis is off, or our body is not sleeping properly, we're stressed, we're not eating well, like maybe we have cachexia, when you're wasting away already from cancer, you're so thin and you're not eating. We need to stimulate our cannabinoid system to produce all of those hormones that will make us sleep better, eat better, be more relaxed. So it's a natural substance that our body recognizes. Why is it illegal when our body has receptors that recognize it,
Interesting.
right?
Interesting. It doesn't reject it in any shape, way, or form, unless you're, you know, you're
Not that
taking a really solid bong rip.
bad tripping.
I don't know, man. I mean, you know,
When you're
I
bad
mean,
tripping.
you know, you got a bong 4 feet high and you're just going for it. Then bong, you know what I mean? It's a little bit too much. But no one has died of overdose, right? That's never happened in the history of.
No, even the people that say, take me to the hospital now, I'm dying,
that's
will never
actually a
die.
it's actually a fallacy. People actually do die of peanut poisoning and stuff.
Of
Now, to have a
what? Johnjo, wait, what?
people have died of peanut poisoning. Some people can't take mayo. Some people can't take eggs. So to say that it's 100% sure that no one has died of cannabis is a fallacy. It's a generalization, which you have to take into consideration. Even some people are allergic to colored alcohol. Some people can drink clear. So to say that no one has died of cannabis is actually fallacious, because if people are allergic to small stuff, even mold and stuff like that, out of the billions of people that have existed, there are allergies to cannabis also, and its components.
But it goes against exactly what's being said. Every human being has the receptor.
Yes,
For
but
the-
if that receptor is forgive the term, in a retarded state,
Faulty.
if it's
It's in a faulty
yeah,
state.
retarded, it shouldn't be a bad word actually, but
Yeah.
people have made it a bad word. But if something is genetically retarded or faulty, you know,
You are correct there.
people can die of cannabis.
I'm
But it's
sure.
very rare. It's like, you know, like the stories of the ladies on planes who complain that the passenger next to them is eating peanuts and they have a peanut allergy. Therefore, remove all the peanuts from the planes, because there are allergies for some people, and
Yeah.
cannabis
You know,
has not been
peanut
stated
allergies-
as an allergy because it's not as common as the common nut, but there are allergies. You have to open your
But it's so rare that you literally cannot Google a death of someone
yeah.
died.
You know what? I'll
because
tell you what he died.
that's
I'll tell
because of the availability of the product.
You know
If
what
it
the
was
guy
really
died of?
available,
I'll tell you what the guy
What?
died of. Extreme Pizza Hut, man. That's what he died of. It's an accident of being too stoned and he freaking ate like 20 pizzas. And he got empacho. But
that's why
you know,
there are many ways.
One thing
but-
you have to realize with all of these peanut allergies,
Yeah. So basically, yeah, to say that, to make a generalization, because I've heard that argument in cannabis groups so many times, and it's not fair to the reality that some people are allergic to.
no, I mean,
beef,
no.
to work, to all
Why
that.
don't we just leave it at this? In moderation, right? Anything.
Oh, definitely. Yes,
You know
I
what
agree
mean?
with that. Yeah.
Let's face it, if you do anything, whether it's smoking, even drinking water in extreme, you'll kill yourself. So everything in moderation.
Yeah.
But per se, cannabis per se is not a poison. It's just not. Right?
Yes,
It's not a
yes.
poison, right?
That's why if we rephrase the sentence to no one has been recorded of dying of an allergic reaction to the use of cannabis, then that's a better definition than saying that no one has ever died of cannabis.
No, but here's the
Because
thing,
then-
John Joe. I
then
think
you'll
you're
have-
right. Because
I'll
it
have to
says here
say
that,
something though about peanut allergies.
I was just gonna say that it says here that someone can actually be allergic to cannabis.
Yep.
But I don't think someone has died because of smoking too much.
Too much.
If
Oh
they
yes,
weren't,
yes.
if they
You
weren't
you
allergic.
either eat yourself to death or go to sleep.
Exactly.
But the
That's
thing,
it.
the problem with allergic reactions is it's very undefined in the fact that cannabis isn't regularly available. But please, Denise, continue on the peanut thing.
On the peanut allergy, let's hear. I want to hear this.
I'm just saying, all of those are, all these peanut things and all of these allergies are a function of modern living. People didn't used to have peanut allergies, but our immune system and our gut is so compromised nowadays. So many people have all of these allergies, right? But 20 years ago,
Didn't
maybe
exist.
one or two had peanut allergies. Yeah, so now more and more, because our level of health and our vitality is so low. That's why so many kids are allergic.
It could
now.
be. It's like lactose intolerance, which it became a phase in the early 90s. And in fact, for 20 years of my life, I thought I was lactose intolerant, which apparently I'm not. That happened.
No, did you have a food test? You know those tests.
No,
things
there
where
was no such thing, because we lived in a home of
Yeah, that's
when
right.
there's no ice cream, no dairy, no milk. You know, everyone, you see in movies, oh, you have a glass of milk before bed. In our household, bawal yan. Because
Yeah.
cow's milk are for cows, not for humans. That's the basic explanation we children got, right?
Like mama's milk.
Zero junk food, zero
that's so
carbonated
true.
drinks, all of those stuff. But well, I work for a carbonated drink company now.
Okay, well, listen. moving on, because I want to go through this. This thing's interesting, right? Okay, before we move on to the next remedy that I'd like to know more about, are you up to date, Denise, with regards to the legalities of cannabis use in the Philippines? What's up?
Wait, you're kind of breaking up.
Oh,
Okay.
don't worry. It's recorded. So
I didn't hear the last question.
Yeah, so basically the legalities of cannabis use for medical purposes in the Philippines. Do you know where we stand now?
Right now, it just has to really pass through the Senate. It's already passed through Congress. Senate is a little tough because of Tito Soto, but that's all it needs to do is pass through the Senate.
And then
But
we're
then again,
good.
you have to understand, in the implementing rules and regulations, it's who's going to grow it, where is it going to come from. You already know who's already positioning themselves
It's regulated in a lot of
to import
cash.
and to grow it.
And it's
Okay.
it's for medicinal purposes. It's not for mass consumption. Unlike
Okay,
in countries.
then maybe let's segue to this. Let's go. This one, okay, Denise. I gotta. You know, we were talking about this for
I'm
a
surprised.
while.
What's the next one?
Okay, it's shrooms, right? I want to know more about how this, because you know, I mean,
In my shirt?
Okay, yeah, that's your shirt. Okay, what's it? What does it say?
2019 Arizona psychedelic.
Oh wow! Okay.
Conference.
Okay, so you were in that conference. It was you know, it must have been really eye-opening for you. But tell us about this because I mean, let's face it. How this has been around since the '80s. People were taking it to get high, see colors, hug trees, do all kind of crazy things. But how does it become an alternative remedy? There you go.
Well, for one thing is the chemical structure of psilocybin mimics serotonin. If you draw them next to each other, it's
Yes, they
very
do.
similar.
Yeah.
So it stimulates the neurotransmitters, the positive neurotransmitters of the brain. That's why now they're using it for a lot of therapy in the States together with,
Yes.
and more of the natural, you know, with MDMA as well. Also has the same chemical picture and the same chemical pattern. So it secretes the right neurotransmitters. That's
So okay, so but is this because we don't have enough serotonin? So this what this does is it augments what we don't have enough of.
Yes, and also most of us, due to modern life and stresses, we're stuck in what's called a default mode network. Default mode network is when your brain just goes around and around, focusing on the same things, grinding on the same negative thoughts. So psychedelics opens the releases you from that repetitive brainwave pattern that's stuck in a negative groove.
But how about those people who can't get back? Is there such thing as really getting, I don't know, messed up, and they just couldn't handle it because maybe their brain just couldn't handle the extreme, you know, nerves or serotonin impulse. Is that even possible for that?
That is possible because you have to understand that these are all sacred plant medicines used for thousands of years by tribes. You know, when they
Okay.
did it, it was in a ritual. They picked the right people. They knew the right. It was also really used to treat schizophrenia and bipolar. But back in the day, you were so-called crazy because you really had a connection with spirit, except you weren't recognizing it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they would give you psychedelics so you could get that connection with spirit. Nowadays, it's the same thing. We're also disconnected from spirit, and even we don't recognize it as plant medicine. We think of it as a party drug.
Yes,
So
exactly.
Yes.
with
Yes.
alcohol,
Another
it's not
another
taken in
thing
the
to
proper
add
way.
to that,
Yeah.
why there are the negative results of it is because back in the day it was taken as is. It wasn't mixed with chemical ingestion of party drugs. It wasn't involved with alcohol. It was more of it's a shaman type where
Yes.
it's a seminar, it's a session. It's
Yes.
something you partake in willfully, and there is a process to it. Now, the way people are
So it's
abusing,
in other words, you're saying it's a safer, I mean, if it's a controlled environment,
Well,
there's
yeah,
open,
that's
yeah.
how it started. But then when it started getting mixed up with everything else, that's the bastardization of
What's
the
this
mushroom and
about?
the
I agree.
I
psilocybin.
want that. Anything to give me serotonin.
She wants
You guys heard it first. Mom wants it.
We're not cutting this part out of the podcast.
That's
Saul
no,
wants
no, no.
Absolutely
Saul
not.
wants
Well, not
serotonin.
her. Me, what I'm gonna say, not her, not her. I'm
See?
using it a lot now. This is probably my most prescribed.
Really?
Yes.
But you have to pre-qualify the individual.
No, I microdose it. Microdose.
Yeah, that's actually
you microdose
Yeah.
it. So Denise, so
Yeah.
basically in that, you went to the States, you attended a conference, it was real eye-opener to you. And here's another natural remedy that you feel should be mainstream, because there's no drug out there that can replicate what this does. That's a question?
People should be on it more than the Sanors and the Zolofts and the Valiums.
I agree.
Wow.
I agree.
Wow.
This can take the place of all of that. And that's
Wow.
why
It's the natural option versus the
yeah.
synthetic
That's
substitute.
that's crazy. This big pharma, the Zolofts, the Sanors, all of that. That's a multi-billion-dollar industry
Yeah.
you're
That's
It's
talking.
the
what
legal it's the legal medical loophole where they synthesize psilocybin and then create it in a laboratory so that they say it's not the illegal drug that you're buying off the street, but it's legal that you can buy it from hospitals and from doctors.
I mean, let's face it, right? I mean, we're in a lobbying political arena. So who are the biggest lobbyists out there? I mean, who has the dineros, right, to make things happen? Anyway, let's move on before we get arrested.
we have more.
Brain mapping, because I did this, and I don't know what, but it really relaxed me. There were things that happened to me, Denise, and I still don't seem to understand how this works, right? Okay, so basically I was put in a chair, you analyzed me with electrodes, and then they kind of like took notes about how my brain reacted to certain images that were on the screen. And then I had, my complaints. Of course, I wrote down my complaints, and then you came up with some sort of a program for me to follow. So I went back and I had, I don't know, over 30 sessions already for that. And so they would put me back into these electrodes in my head, and I'm just staring at visuals. And how does that even work? How does brain mapping and is that what it's called?
It's neurofeedback.
Neurofeedback. That's what I was looking for. So okay, neurofeedback. So basically, I don't even feel anything, right? I don't feel electricity going through my head.
No, because
So-
the electricity is not going to your head. The electrodes are picking up the electricity from your head.
Oh, it's the reverse. It's the reverse.
Yes, because we're vibrational beings, and EEGs and EKGs and all that measure our body's vibration of the heart, vibration of the muscle. This one takes the vibration of the brain waves. So it's so sensitive, it picks up the brain waves in certain spots, and that's what's running the game on the computer. So
I was shocked with that game. John Joe, if you had a chance to do this, it'll blow your mind, man.
Yeah,
I was
sorry.
yeah.
It brings up the whole, how like people say you're only using 10% of your brain. It's like, yes, you are definitely using it, because you can't use 100%, because you have some for linguistics, you have some for mobility, you have some for recognition, you have some for the attributes that you genetically have. It's different parts. You can never use 100% of your brain. That's also another fallacy, because there's certain parts of your brain that have active functions depending on the task that you're performing. There's also one for the arm, one for the left arm, one for the leg, one for the penis, one for the stomach, one for the stuff that you don't know is happening.
You have to throw the penis in there.
Of course, this is me you're talking to. But yeah,
Okay,
that's
yeah,
why
but,
when
you know,
people
I understand that. But what we're trying to figure out is how can a neurofeedback, which is this form of remedy, work? How do you cure something defective within you
no, it's
using neurofeedback? Denise,
it's
can you answer that? I just like to know that science, that apparatus that she uses.
It's like going to the gym for your brain. So we're picking up the vibrations from all those parts that he mentioned, right? Like, for example, you wanted to strengthen the linguistics area. So it's here in the middle part of the brain. We pick that up and it's feeding the computer. And then it's again quantum, the power of thought. So when you're looking at the game, remember they said just relax and think that make your cat go faster. So
Yeah.
just the action of the thought is eliciting neurons to connect. So the more you think that thought, the neurons are exercising and connecting, and our brain is plastic. So the more you're thinking that's in that specific area, the more the neurons are growing and thickening in that area.
Okay.
Because our brain is plastic. So it's like
It's
the
just-
gym, but for the neurons of the brain.
But
The point is
Interesting
that-
stuff.
yeah. The point of that type of practice is finding out, Buzz, which part has a deficiency. So that's the part
Yes.
that you work on to improve it.
Yeah. Yes.
And
No, no.
identify which one.
Iken's asking, he can't seem to fathom our brain being plastic. What do you mean by that? It's
Meaning,
plastic?
okay, I'm right-handed,
Oh,
but then I break my right arm and I start eventually in 3 months with practice, I'll be able to write with my
With
left
your-
hand. Meaning, right?
You mold
Instead
it.
of
You mold
using
it
this
like
side of the
plastic.
brain, you use
It's not plastic. In other
Or
words,
you
it's
use something.
you're able to make it work out.
Yes,
Or
manipulate it.
Got it.
Not
look at it
plastic,
this way
plastic.
also. When
Yeah.
when people go through traumatic events or car crashes or accidents or stuff like that, some of them sometimes lose their sense of smell and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's connected to the particular part of the brain.
Yes, exactly.
Interesting.
It's not that
Okay.
it's not that you can't smell. It's that
Thanks,
the brain
guys.
part is deactivated.
Exactly. So, okay. So here's my question. I mean, this is like the overall question with all the different remedies out there and sciences, alternative sciences. Can homeostasis, is that homeostasis? be achieved?
Homeostasis.
Okay,
Stasis.
stasis be achieved.
With food or with remedies? I saw food or with everything.
With everything, because I mean, okay, food, we're not gonna go to the whole vegetarianism and all that, but I just want to know, is it possible? Because I mean, in this day and age, with so much stress, so much anxiety, so much pressure, and then the world is changing. It's like we're getting beaten down, and with all the things you've mentioned, homeopathy. We've talked about cannabis. We've talked about the shrooms. We've talked about neurofeedback. There could be diet. There could be meditation, yoga. Is there still a chance for homeostasis?
Of course, 100%. But we have to understand that because we are energy machines. So our job is to eat food, drink water. We absorb energy from people. We absorb energy from the environment, from the sun, and our body converts it. So
Okay.
if we're feeding it bad energy, of course, our body has a hard time. So we have to watch out for the stuff we eat, the pharmaceuticals we take, very, very important. The people we hang out with, the energy we absorb from them, and of course,
The
avoid.
bad.
Dude, that is the biggest thing that will cause illness in Chinese medicine and homeopathy is bad vibes, man.
So literally bad vibes, huh?
Yes, because we have this vitality, and a trauma, especially an emotional trauma, will bring down our vitality, and then we're so sensitive to external factors, and we can get sick, we can you know, we catch stuff because our vitality is down.
Yeah.
See, so as I was saying, we're energy beings, so we have to watch what we put in as energy. And so homeopathy will take the place of pharmaceuticals,
Right.
good food, good people around us, and keep our systems of elimination clear.
So it's not enough to eat well and go to the gym. I mean, these days
no.
there's just so much more to just going to the gym and eating well, right?
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah,
Well, you can be the most gym buff, the most healthy person in the world, but if you're an asshole on social media, no one will follow you, no one will like you, and people will say you're full of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Exactly. Okay, which brings us to our next segment, Denise.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite cocktail? But before you answer that, we have to, we're running a poll, right? We're running a poll, and you know, we have to try to figure out where the word cocktail comes from. Now, I've written down two options for you, right? The first option is called gingering. Gingering is when they needed to liven up a horse, okay, before a show. And basically what they would do is they would cock up the tail of a horse and stick a finger of ginger up the ass so it gets livened up. So the cocktail, that's where the cocktail comes from. That's one school of thought. The other school of thought is basically, you know, the egg cup, you know, where you get the, you put the egg to crack it, to have, you know, soft-boiled egg. So that's called a coquetier in French. So apparently that coquetier over time was, you know, they mispronounced it and it became cocktail.
It became the jigger. It became
The jigger. You know the one that the bartender uses in the it looks like that, right? So between the two, which do you think would be the most probable source of the word cocktail?
For me, it's two, but the right answer is probably one.
Wow, safe bet. Right?
Denise, we don't know what the right answer is.
We don't know what the right answer is.
And you know, there's no right or wrong.
No, there's none. That's why we're trying to figure this out. Because, you know, you Google it, it's really interesting, right? You know what I thought it was? I thought it was the tail of the cock, right? And they use it as a garnish in the drink. So there's your cocktails.
There's your option three.
That's your option three, which is, you know, I thought was the probable answer.
What about my option 4?
What's your option?
John Joe, what's yours?
My option 4 is that alcohol was predominantly male. So when they make ladies drink, it's a cocktail. It's like Cuentong Barbero. It's a cocktail. It's like, all right, sweetie. You're a sweetie. Have a drink on me, sweetie. But it's watered down. It's watered down. It's mixed up for ladies. That's why it's a cocktail.
I thought of that too. I'm more for 4.
You're more for 4?
Okay. John Joe, you get a point.
John Joe's got a point.
It's like making bola. It's like, oh, that's a bunch of cock.
It's a cocktail, right?
If I'm not mistaken, women weren't really allowed to be out and be drinking in pubs and stuff like that. It was frowned upon by society. You can even see it in Peaky Blinders.
Yeah. That's right. Okay, well, this next segment is called This or That, Denise. Okay, you're basically gonna choose one. This time you can't choose both. You gotta pick one. It's either this or that. Okay, and this is brought to you by our Barrel Reserve Gin, Crow's Barrel Reserve. Best taken neat or on the rocks. Okay, here we go. Denise, this or that?
This.
Oh,
blasphemy!
It's like, I can't believe it. You're the first guest we've had who's chosen this.
Really?
Really? Yeah. But you know what?
That.
No, I know. Okay, I'll tell you why you can't have that. It's because it's an anti-remedy to homeopathy. Am I right?
Oh, I like sugar and milk.
Oh,
I put
okay.
a little
Went a
coffee.
bit deep there.
I put a
Okay.
little coffee in my sugar and milk.
There you go.
I put a little coffee and sugar. Okay. It's like me saying I like to put pizza on my pineapples.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is, I know one of the questions that you usually ask when you interview someone for homeopathy. Day or night?
Day.
Really? You're a day person, huh? I don't
Yeah.
know what it is. I'm caught. I don't know, Iken, are you day or night? It's hard, right?
It's hard, man. Honestly, maybe I'd say a night guy. Because I like going to the movies, and that's usually at night.
Well, maybe now for me because of my eyes, because I can't stand bright lights, so I'm night. I can't stand bright lights, right? John Joe, yeah, we all know you're night.
Definitely night. Without a doubt, night. Because there's no traffic. It's the time to watch movies. It's the time to drink. You
You didn't
know.
even need to ask John.
You don't even have to ask me.
You look at the tattoos. You're a night
Definitely
guy.
night. Definitely night. Oh, here's the next one. Denise. Is she there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, next. This or that? Definitely. So even when, your dinner, you rather have a beer rather than wine, huh?
Oh, wait. I have a segue to this though. You know those reports and those posts? A glass of wine a day. A glass of wine a day. I choked on my beer. A glass of wine a day is healthy.
Okay. Yeah,
Do
but
you
beer,
believe that?
I believe that. And guess what, John Joe? I had a godmother who passed, and and she's really the best, over 98, 99 in fact. And she drank beer every single day.
But isn't
Right?
it bad for GERD?
No, because you've
Yes,
got
it is.
issues with your stomach,
No, the
man.
thing is, I already produce beer in my stomach because of all the years of drinking. But that's why they always argue that a glass of wine for non-drinkers is a healthy thing to have with dinner.
I find
At least
wine
one.
more acidic than beer. That's why I choose that.
Okay, that makes
But
sense.
you know what? You know what? Look, let's break it down. Wine is a fermented liquid, and so is beer. Both. That's the reason why I chose them. They're both fermented, except okay, one is from fruit, which is grapes. The other is from malt. Okay, so those people who have issues with wheat, with barley, have an issue. And beer is carbonated. Wine is not. So if you got issues with carbonation going in you, then obviously you've got a problem. But Denise likes beer, and she has
I
no
like
issue.
carbonated stuff too.
Yeah, I mean in Europe, right? Denise, agua con gas, sin gas. They sell you water with
I
gas.
like gas. I think I'm the
Yeah.
only one that
You
definitely
know?
gas. Yeah.
It's especially when you're eating, man. I mean, it's
Flat or
nicer.
sparkling.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, next.
I would have changed the question to which makes you cry.
Okay, this or that. That's tough. That's tough.
This is really tough. Because homeopathy is both a science and an art. But I'm more science.
Oh wow, you blew.
But not in-
I honestly thought you were gonna choose art.
Well, see, the science is
You
not
kind of,
modern science.
you kind of crossed over when you started taking all this new stuff to science, right?
She's at wonder. If you look at the middle of your picture.
Yeah, look, I like the middle. If I would choose, I'd choose wonder, right? Look at
Oh,
that.
there's a
Science and
middle.
art.
Okay.
No, but that's
You're not
not
allowed
a
to
choice.
choose that.
Not a choice.
But you know what? Yeah, so you chose science because everything you're learning is scientific, right? It's scientific. But how cool art is it's a playground. I love art because it's a damn playground, right?
No, and diagnosis is an art. You can knowing homeopathy is a science. I mean, it falls. But when you want to diagnose a person, that's an art. That's when you perceive the energy leaks in a person. You perceive if it's the hormones that are off, or if it's the emotions that are off, or That's where the art comes in.
Okay,
Diagnose.
that's interesting because yeah, that, not every homeopath, that's what you're called, right? A homeopath. So basically a doctor of homeopathy can really figure some. You're right, because you have to go through a series of interviews. You have to know to ask the right questions so that you can give the right remedy. It's not like one size fit all, like, oh, you have a headache. Oh, it's this, right? Is that right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, interesting. I'm learning, man. Okay, this or that?
This.
Oh, you've got a pizza oven in your house.
I can't even look at another pizza.
I was gonna say it's so easy to make pasta. Pizza's so hard.
I've been experimenting with sauce oven, right? But I'm like, you know what I mean? To do it right, the dough, the oven, the heat, the this, the that. But pasta, you know what I mean? I'm more, put it this way, I feel more confident making pasta than I
But
do
what about to
pizza.
eat?
Eat? To eat.
That's what I mean.
It's if it's tonight, right now, I'll have a pizza. I'll have a pizza right now. That's what I want.
I've been eating lasagna this whole time.
If I was right now to choose, I'm gonna have a pizza. But then there are days, right? You want those creamy pastas. So what type of pasta do you like, Denise?
White or red?
Red.
Red.
Actually, exactly that.
That one looks good. Tomato, sun-dried tomatoes in there. I can see.
That's the kind with
Oh.
garlic and olive oil and like a
Yeah, dude. I'm getting hungry,
Besides
man.
spaghetti,
Teka.
spaghetti is okay as long as it's not spaghetti with red hot dogs.
Are you kidding? Iken loves that. That's his
Spaghetti?
favorite.
Kiddie party spaghetti?
Brother, give me a McDonald's spaghetti or a Jollibee spaghetti any day.
sweet. Oh,
Dude, I swear. And he made his American friends try it.
do
I
they
know,
like
They
it?
hated it. They hated it. They hated it.
They said, what's this? Dessert? This is freaking dessert.
And they'll ask you,
Why
why
is
are
it
the hot
sweet?
dogs red?
Yeah, why is there a hot dog?
Okay, our last one, Denise. This
Yay.
one you gotta answer. This or that?
Oh, good Lord.
It's an OC thing. What are you? Are you from the team this or team that?
I'm team that.
No way! You're in the same team as John Joe!
Do you own cats?
Old.
You own cats?
Old.
Do you own cats?
No, dog.
Oh, because cats love to play with toilet paper.
Saul, come here. I wonder what. No, Saul, because I keep changing it. It's gotta be this. It has to be this. It's gotta be this. It
No,
can't
it
be
can't
that,
be.
guys.
Yeah, I'm a that. I'm a that.
Because sometimes you'll sit on, you'll be in a bar or in someone's house.
Exactly.
You sit on a filthy seat and then you lean on the toilet paper as you're going into the bathroom. So all the dirt in your jeans or whatever is.
It's the walls. It's
You're
rubbing to the wall.
You're supposed well only because your photo is rubbing on the wall. Most toilet papers do not touch the wall.
But that's a typical toilet paper holder. And I think, when the toilet paper's new, you know what? Honestly, any toilet I go to, if I see that, I switch it, man. I can't
Are you
stand
serious?
that. Yeah, I can't stand that. I'm like, why the hell? It's like an OC thing of mine. I can't stand
Yeah?
that. Yeah, I mean, if I see that, I'm just going to say, the hell with that.
To me, it looks dirtier. It looks dirtier. 'Cause you
Well,
don't touch.
Denise,
And if someone sneezes, they have COVID. It goes to this. And then you rub your butt with it. Oh, no. If you were in that, you'd be safer from COVID.
I wish we had more time, Denise. We've learned a lot from you. Thank you so much for joining
I
Crow's
had a lot of
Talk.
fun, guys.
So much fun, but we're gonna put all the contact details of Denise. Please give them to me. I'll put them in the description. So anybody who wants to get in touch with Denise for alternative healing, alternative remedies, please do so. There's so much to learn, guys. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. Thank you so much, then. I'll see you in Tali.
Okay, see you. Take care, guys. Have a good night.
Salud!
Bye.
Bye. Cheers.